So in my perspective, there's three key pillars when it comes to like understanding this business and ultimately mastering the business, right? And those three things to me, they are sales, right? You got to go out there and you got to learn how to sell somebody something. You got to be consistently closing people. That's how you start off. Number two is sales training, right? And this is where I feel like you guys are kind of referring to mostly, where you're getting the other person to do stuff that you want them to do because they want to do it, right? You're teaching them how to sell, basically. You're teaching them how to get consistent in the field, how to consistently produce. But people development is the next step up. Now this is the part where you're grooming and developing leaders ultimately. Now, like, I'm developing Jay Dollar Sign, right? And through people development, Jay Dollar Sign is going to be a better leader, right? And he's going to grow his organization because of this thing called people development, and also because of the work that he puts in, right? So it's a two-way street, right? The person has to have work ethic, but you yourself, you got to focus on people development. Now Stefan's back on. So Stefan, what is people development? Like, what is that? What should we think of it as?
Well, just to keep it really simple and just, because people development is broad, right? But just to make it real specific to our business, all it is replacing yourself, right? So the things that you're doing, in order for you to level up and go to the next level, you have to develop someone to be able to do the things that you're doing at the task that you're doing right now, right? So if you're the top leader, motivating your team in the field, trying to get them to perform, you're rallying the guys up, right? I think that was Isaac's success, right? He got his team together. They went and worked together. Jeremy, that's been a key to your success this week, really joining with the wolf pack and getting out there working, right? If you're that guy, right, you need to develop someone to become that guy. So people development in this business is just replacing yourself. I wasn't able to leave the field until I had someone like Gio who was able to, like, I went on every single road trip. And then once Gio got down what road trips were supposed to look like, and then I remember his first road trip he ran was in Texas, and they went out there and murdered it. They did 50 plus sales on that road trip. At that point, I knew that I no longer needed to go on road trips with Gio, right? So the people development phase, we just basically are looking to replace ourselves and train our guys to be able to to develop the skill sets that we have and be able to run certain parts of the team that we're currently running right now.
Stefan, besides that road trip that you saw me, like, murder it out there. I think I know which one you're talking about. It was like San Antonio, right? Is that the one?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, we went out there. I think we had a group of like maybe 6, and we killed it, man. The top 2 people, which was me and some other guy, we both did 10 that week. So it was pretty badass. What other examples of people development would apply to like team leaders, Stefan, when we're thinking about it?
Yeah, so the first thing that I think about with team leaders, so first thing that I want us to do is figure out and exemplify what we want in a sales rep. Like, what are the characteristics? What do we want an ideal sales rep to look like, right? The next step is then I must possess and embody that. Because in order for you to teach someone to do something, you got to be able to be that individual, right? So first I identify those characteristics. The next thing that I do is I exemplify it myself. So I prove it to myself. Can I be a consistent closer? Can I motivate my team on a day-to-day basis? Can I communicate with my team effectively to make sure that they know clearly what the goal is set for the day? Like, can I do all this stuff? So I create a system for myself that I do on a day-to-day basis because I'm preparing to teach Gio this stuff, right? So first things that we need to do as team leaders, if you haven't already, is embody the characteristics that you're looking to have in an individual. right? And then the second thing is we need to create a system that's scalable. So what is it that you do, right? You go in the field, you consistently perform, put numbers up. You work with your team, you get your team together, you have team nights, right? We talked about that with Steven on the earlier call, how to, build those bonds and stuff with your team, right? So I just identify all of that. And then once I'm able to accomplish that, the second biggest thing with developing people development is recruiting the right people. I know one thing, the sharper the person you recruit, the easier it is to develop them. I had to pour very little into Gio. There's other people that I work with, I'm like, why the fuck do I gotta keep saying the same thing over and over and over, man? Like, what the hell? Like, how come you don't get the fundamental things? I give Gio just a little bit of game. I'm like, do it this way. And he takes it and he runs with it. Gio is very smart. He's sharp. He's above average. So that's the first things first is Stefan had to be sharp and on point to retain a guy like Gio who's coming in and wanting to make all this money and will easily leave a business because if he sees there's flaws and he doesn't have the ability here to do so. So I had to be on point as a leader. I had to make sure when we were showing up to the office, Gio's seeing me at the office first, me on point, my meetings prepared. Everything I'm doing is a step ahead of Gio. Right? He had to see that in me in order for me to earn his respect. So one, recruiting sharp people on your team is gonna make it a whole lot easier. So you gotta be on point as the leader. To attract sharp people, you gotta be sharp. How do you look? How do you dress? What do you talk about? That's the biggest thing. How much conversation do you have? This requires you to read. This requires you to stay on top of things, right? We're in a communication business. You got to be on point. I can walk into any business and have a conversation about pretty much any topic. Reason why is because I try to stay relevant and learn types of stuff. My little nephews and them, they come in and I'm like telling them stuff about like rappers and people their age, and they're just like blown away, like, what the heck? What do you know about Pooh Shiesty, right? I just stay on top of the stuff just so I stay current and relevant. And I'm able to connect and relate with them. My wife, I call her old. She's younger than me, but she's oblivious to a lot of the new stuff that's coming up. Cryptocurrency, all that stuff, right? So, I mean, I'm going into more depth with this, but you gotta stay relevant. You gotta stay on top of this stuff, right? So what are you offering to your people? You have to grow. We talk about law of the lid. The organization will only go as high as the lid of the leader that's in the organization. So I recruit sharp people, retain sharp people. And then the next thing here is once you identify your people and your team, you have to put them in the place of their strength. You have to understand who they are. So if you got a guy that's just a sales dog on your team, and you're constantly just trying to get this guy to build a team, that's not his strength. Like our basketball coach at the beginning of the season, he would take the first five, and he would say, we're gonna scrimmage the second five. But we're gonna put, the first five has to play a different position. Stefan, you're at center. The center's at point guard, bringing the ball up. The two guards at the three, right? And we're all playing in different positions. And the second team, they get to play their true positions. And they would kick our ass every single time. Our point guard, our big man would get ripped because he's not in his position. He's not supposed to bring the ball up the court. He doesn't have those skills. So they would beat us. And the coach would say, this is the example of staying in your position. Play your position, play your part, and we will win. Try to be something that you're not, and we will lose, right? That was his message at the beginning of the year, right? So it's the same thing here with as leaders. In order to build and develop leaders, we have to be able to identify our people's strength and where they are. So I knew Gio was a team builder. I knew Gio was a leader that needed some space to grow on his own. I put him in that position and empower him. Other leaders I know need more attention, right? So we got to be able to identify, where our people are on our team. What are their strengths? If they're just really good at sales, let's put them in position to do sales. If you see naturally people gravitate towards them, that's the leader on your team, right? So we have to be able to identify that and then put them into their strengths, and you'll see that your team will flourish, right? The last thing here with equipping your people and developing them is we got to put in the time and the work to do so, right? So we have the show, tell, do. First things first, and you guys are doing this when you're training in the field, you show them how to do the sales. So day one, hey, Joseph, you're going to observe me 90% of the doors, I'm going to hit them. I just want you to watch, right? Then we're telling them what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then we're going to have them do it. And you just repeat that process in every role that you have on your team. So sales, and then we want to teach them how to become good recruiters. Then we want to teach them how to be good sales trainers. Those are the 3 areas you just really need to focus on in this business and get good at. And this business is easy when it comes to that. So recapping what I said, first and foremost, you need to be the example. You can't be inconsistent in the field, right? Because that's what you're going to develop, inconsistent people. And we know inconsistency is not going to get you anywhere, right? You need to exemplify those characteristics first, right? You need to look the part. If you're going to recruit sharp people on your team and keep sharp people on your team, you got to be sharp and on point. On point. Like, I was teasing someone this morning because they missed the call, right? It's like, you got to be on point, because a sharp person is going to look at that and be like, that's a weak leader. It's just the reality of what it is. I don't try to show Gio weaknesses in regards to, my work ethic and things of that sort. I'm vulnerable. I'm not perfect by any means. But one thing that I'm not going to do is be sloppy and unorganized and things that I can control. You guys are not going to be the best leaders. It takes time to be great at this leadership game. But best believe you're going to put your best foot forward. You ask Ken Tang, I was driving a freaking burgundy Toyota Corolla, right? He's older than me. I think even then, Petey probably could attest, my suits didn't even fit right. I wasn't getting them tailored or nothing like that. But every day that Ken went with me, my car was clean. I was organized and on point for the field. My attitude was in check. The things that I could do at a high level, I did it. Followed the systems, had a haircut, smelled good. My suit was big, but it was ironed and on point. So when I'm telling Ken I'm going to the moon, I'm freaking want to blow up in this company, he's looking at me. Obviously, he's just like, man, my car is way nicer than his car. He was driving like a Nissan NSX or something like that. I can't remember what he was driving, or an Eclipse or something. It was a nicer car than me. But his car was junky and full of clutter. He gets in my car, it's clean, organized, smelling good. On point. I just made sure that the things that I can control, I was on point with that. And your people will be attracted to that. You don't have to have the best. But when they see you giving your best and they see you prepare, they know you care and that you're serious about your goals. So just that alone is going to take you a long way in this business. But if your people see you saying, I'm going to make partner, but you're getting on the call, sleepy looking, freaking shirts all like this, and you're just not on point, they're not taking that seriously. Or you're in the field and you're like man, like your guys pumping you up and getting your attitude in check. Like, who's following that? I've heard some leaders sometimes say, yeah, my new guy had to motivate me today. I'm like, yeah, you're going to lose that new guy.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if that's happening, you got to get better. You got to be on point. People want to follow people that have something that they don't have. What attracted Ken to me was I had the power. What attracted me to Ken was I had the power to keep my composure in all situations. He's like, that's superpowers right there. Because I would have freaking karate kicked that dude who cussed me out. I'd have lost my attitude, right? And this is all growth. This is all growth because I wasn't there before. I was the guy negging out, sitting in my car, making excuses on why I wasn't performing. And I just had to check myself, and work at this and get better and say, Stefan, you're not giving 100%. And you can't look yourself in the eye and look your kid in the eye and say, dad didn't hit his goals because this, that, and the other. No, like you're not giving 100%, and that's why you're not hitting your goals. And either you're gonna have integrity and character with yourself and have that same character. So I had to check myself and get better. I was not a good leader when I first started. I'm a sore loser. So when I roll a 0 on the field, it was Neg Fest 2021. It was the territory's fault. My leader gave me the wrong territory. Man, no one wanted to listen. It was pretty bad. And I had to check myself. So if you're in that position, it's not okay. Check yourself and get to that position, right? Become stronger in the things that you can control. You can control your attitude and being on time every single day and looking like you're excited about growing your business. You can be on point with dressing and taking the time and looking the part, looking like success, right? Or at least putting in the effort. You can control going in the field and being consistent with your numbers, right? All of these things are within your control. When you start doing that and embodying that, you're gonna attract that. And more importantly, you can teach people that. And that's how you develop people in this business. It's super simple, we make it complicated. We get in our own way. We overthink things. Ken and them would give me a hard time. You don't take time off of work and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, Gio and Mo and these guys are not where they're at. So I can't take time off. I'm not going on vacation until they're where they're at. And then when they were there, then I removed myself and I was able to enjoy it. The job wasn't done. A lot of leaders remove themselves before the person is developed. They're trying to hurry up with things and rush things, and they suffer the consequences of that. They find themselves rebuilding and having to start all over and things of that sort. They're like, how do you retain a guy like Gio and Mo for all these years? You put the time in with them. It's a simple recipe. It doesn't happen overnight. So that's my message to you guys. One, let's exemplify who we want to be and be that person day-to-day basis. Two, when we're able to attract those individuals, we need to make sure that we put them in their position of strength, right? So if Chris Cooper is a sales guy right now, like let's not have him build a team. Let's put him in a position to freaking make a lot of sales and make a lot of money. Antoinette might be the recruiter, So let's not force it on people. Then the next thing is we got to show them, tell them, and then have them do it and be patient and let them develop. If they're the right guy. I'm looking for right hand and left hand people that have the same vision as me and the same mindset as me. Majority of the team is not going to have it. Majority of the team is going to be followers. They're not going to be those top leaders. They're attracted to the leadership that we're bringing to the table. But I'm looking for those core guys who do have that it factor. And that's just where we're at right now. We're trying to identify who is it here on these calls. We got team leaders, We got leaders, right? Who has that it factor to go to the next level and not only make it to partnership, but can sustain in partnership and continue to progress and grow more leaders. So let's identify some characteristics that we're looking for. Ken, what are some things that you look for in individuals? I know that you got your top 3, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really see the opportunity as anybody can do this with those 3 intangible characteristics that can be developed, right? So I think anybody can do this business. So I look for the mindset, right? And of course, we all don't have it yet, but there's core drives and work ethic, right? And attitude I see in someone, and if I'm inspired by them, and I'm inspired by people by their goals and their whys, if I find that someone have a really true hunger to support their family and grow as an individual, I'm fired up, right? And if they don't look sharp, or they don't know how to speak correctly, or don't know how to do a pitch, that all doesn't matter to me. It actually motivates me more, because as a leader, I want to challenge myself to see if I can get this individual to where they need to be. That's my job.